Welcome to Martial Mastery Media. Before watching, make sure to subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode, and like this video to support our content. Share this video with friends, family, and fellow martial artists who are passionate about the history, philosophy, and spiritual roots of combat. Explore our catalog of videos on martial arts legends, lost techniques, and historical fighting systems. Be sure to check out our sister channels, Galactic Secrets, Mysteries of the Universe, Alien History and Space Exploration, and Myths Through Time, Ancient Myths, Legends, and Forgotten Stories. Links are in the description below. Thank you for being part of our community and helping us preserve the legacy of warriors and martial traditions. In this episode, we explore the rich and often overlooked history of the Filipino tribal warriors, headhunters, and blade masters. These warriors, hailing from the thousands of islands that make up the Philippines, carried on traditions of combat, spirituality, and survival that predate colonization and modern warfare. They were headhunters, raiders, defenders, and master craftsmen of some of the most iconic blades in history. Their story is one of resilience, ingenuity, and a deep intertwining of warfare with culture, identity, and ritual. 1. The world of the Filipino tribal warrior. The Philippines is a land of extraordinary diversity, composed of over 7,000 islands and hundreds of ethno-linguistic groups. Long before foreign colonizers arrived, these islands were home to thriving communities with complex warrior traditions. Warfare was part of daily life. Tribes fought to defend territory, raid rivals, or prove their strength and honor. These were not vast professional armies like those in China or Rome. Instead, warriors were drawn from local communities, where fighting skill was essential for survival. A man's courage and ability in battle determined his place in society. Warriors earned respect through bravery, and their deeds were remembered in oral traditions, songs, and tattoos. Conflict was not only about power or resources, it was often tied to spiritual beliefs. For many tribes, combat was linked to rituals of fertility, protection, and balance with the spirit world. In this sense, every raid and every battle was not just physical, but also sacred. 2. Headhunters of the Cordillera Highlands. One of the most striking warrior traditions came from the Highland tribes of Luzon, such as the Igorot, Ifugao, and Kalinga. These tribes were known for the practice of headhunting, a custom that may seem brutal by modern standards, but which carried deep cultural meaning. Taking the head of an enemy was seen as a way to capture their spiritual essence. The head was believed to house the soul, and bringing it back to the village brought blessings of fertility, prosperity, and protection from enemies. It was a rite of passage for young men, marking the transition from youth to warrior. Battles were often preceded by elaborate rituals, where warriors invoked ancestral spirits for strength and guidance. Victory celebrations involved feasts, dances, and ceremonies that honored both the fallen enemy and the ancestors who blessed the raid. Warriors carried tattoos to mark their achievements, each design a permanent record of their courage and conquests. To outsiders, headhunting appeared savage, but within these societies it was a system of meaning, discipline, and community identity. It created warriors who lived by strict codes of honor and who saw themselves as protectors of their people. 3. Moro warriors. The defenders of Mindanao and Suluan, the southern Philippines, the Moro peoples developed a warrior culture that blended Islamic faith with indigenous traditions. For centuries, Moro warriors resisted foreign invaders, from Spanish conquistadors to American soldiers, earning a reputation as some of the fiercest fighters in Southeast Asia. Their weapons became legendary. The kris, with its distinctive wavy blade, was more than a sword. It was believed to carry spiritual power, with each blade forged to hold a part of its owner's soul. The Kampalan, a massive two-handed sword, was feared for its ability to cut down enemies in a single blow. Moro warriors also used spears, shields, and firearms when available, but the blade remained their most prized possession. The Moro were masters of both conventional and guerrilla tactics. They ambushed invaders, struck swiftly from the jungle, and used their intimate knowledge of the land to their advantage. Perhaps most feared were the juramentados, warriors who took a solemn oath to die in battle, fighting with fanatical courage until they were killed. This warrior tradition was inseparable from their spiritual devotion. To fight and die in defense of their people and faith was seen as the highest honor. Their centuries-long resistance against colonization became a symbol of Filipino resilience and independence. 4. Blades of power and identity for Filipino tribal warriors. The blade was not just a weapon, but a cultural identity and spiritual symbol. Each type of blade carried its own meaning, history, and method of use. Kris. Revered for its craftsmanship and mystical symbolism, the Kris's serpentine blade was believed to represent flowing energy, with each blade uniquely forged and sometimes even believed to be imbued with supernatural qualities. Campilan, a massive, fearsome sword often wielded by chiefs and great warriors. The campilan is said to have been used by the legendary leader Lapu-Lapu in his victory over Ferdinand Magellan in 1521. Barong, a short, leaf-shaped blade used by the Tausug and Yakan tribes, prized for its cutting power and symbolic association with strength and bravery. Bolo and Itak, everyday farming tools that could be quickly repurposed as deadly weapons in times of conflict. Blade making itself was a sacred art. Master smiths forged weapons with rituals, prayers, and spiritual intent, ensuring that each blade carried not just physical sharpness, but also spiritual protection. Warriors treated their blades as extensions of their own spirit, often naming them and passing them down as heirlooms. Warrior rituals and spiritual beliefs. For Filipino tribal warriors, combat was never purely physical, it was deeply spiritual. Before battle, warriors often performed elaborate rituals to ensure protection and victory. These included sacrifices, offerings to the spirits, and chants invoking strength and guidance from ancestors. Tattoos played a major role in warrior culture. Known as batok, these tattoos marked achievements in combat, with each design telling the story of a warrior's deeds. Covered in tattoos, a warrior's body became a living record of his bravery, a visible sign of his status and spiritual journey. Spiritual cleansing was also important. After battle, rituals were performed to cleanse warriors of negative energies and restore balance. Some tribes believed that failure to honor these rituals could bring misfortune or anger the spirits of the dead. These beliefs demonstrate how combat was integrated into the sacred order of life. For Filipino warriors, battle was not just about survival. It was about fulfilling a cosmic role. 6. From tribal combat to Filipino martial arts, the warrior traditions of the Philippines did not vanish. They evolved into what we know today as Filipino martial arts, FMA, Arnis, Eskrima, and Kali. These arts are practiced worldwide and are known for their speed, fluidity, and emphasis on weapons. While sticks are commonly used in modern training, they represent swords and blades, preserving the movements of ancient tribal combat. Techniques include strikes, blocks, counters, disarms, and flows that echo centuries-old battlefield tactics. The philosophy of adaptability, deception, and efficiency also comes directly from tribal survival. A Filipino warrior could never afford to waste movement or energy. Combat was fast, brutal, and decisive. Modern FMA keeps this principle alive, teaching practitioners to respond fluidly to any situation. 7. Legacy of the Filipino tribal warrior. The legacy of the headhunters and blade masters remains alive today. Their traditions are remembered in festivals, dances, and rituals across the Philippines. Their weapons are preserved as cultural treasures, and their martial techniques continue to influence global martial arts. Filipino martial arts are now practiced by martial artists, law enforcement, and military units worldwide, proving that the skills developed in tribal battlefields remain relevant today. But more than techniques, the spirit of the Filipino warrior, courage, resilience, and honor, continues to inspire generations. These warriors were not merely fighters, they were guardians of their communities, keepers of sacred traditions, and living embodiments of their people's spirit. 8. Conclusion and call to action. The Filipino tribal warriors, headhunters of the Highlands and blade masters of the South, represent one of the most fascinating and powerful warrior traditions in history. Their world was one where the line between the physical and the spiritual was thin, where every battle carried cosmic significance, and where blades were more than weapons. They were living symbols of identity, power, and belief. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Filipino tribal warriors, headhunters, and blade masters, subscribe to Martial Mastery Media. Hit the notification bell for new uploads, like, and share this video with friends, family, and martial artists. Explore our other videos on martial arts legends, techniques, and forgotten warrior traditions. And don't forget to check out our sister channels, Galactic Secrets, for mysteries of the universe, alien history, and space exploration, and Myths Through Time, for ancient myths, legends, and forgotten stories. Thank you for being part of the Martial Mastery Media community. Together, we keep alive the stories of warriors, their skills, their philosophies, and the eternal search for mastery of body, mind, and spirit.